Thanks for joining us for this episode of That Solo Life, the podcast for PR pros, marketers, and communicators who work for themselves. People like me, Michelle Kane with Voice Matters, and my wonderful co host, Karen Swim of Solo PR Pro. Hi, Karen. How are you today?
Good morning, Michelle. Doing well. Thank you. How are you?
Hey, faking it till I make it? No, I'm not faking it. It's just, we're in the winter. We are in the depths of this frigid, cold, snow for 2 weeks winter, and if you're listening to this in parts of the country where that's your norm, I'm so sorry, not just for that, but for being so weak in the face of it. I am ready for a little bit of spring.
I feel like the
Yeah.
entire country could use a little bit of spring.
I love that. Yes. Yes, indeed we could. Just a little warm up, a little glow, a little sunshine, just to brighten our way. But anyway, we're here to talk about PR stuff as usual, and we're going to take a little angle. We're going to call it Read the Room. How can you craft your messaging and just get through these wild days in ways that really respect your audience and the people that you and your clients are looking to serve? Because as we've talked, we talk a lot about AI and getting systems in place and everything has its place, but we just want to make sure we're not losing sight of the people that we serve because we serve the public in public relations. We don't serve, it's not cyber relations, it's public relations. So we're going to riff about that a little bit today.
Yes, it is really actually troubling that we talk so much about frameworks, efficiency, and bottom lines that in that whole discussion, I mean, we're so focused on numbers and analytics and all of the things and processes that people is an afterthought. And all
Yeah.
of those things are to measure how effective we are with people, but we put people last and put instead of putting people first.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a
Yeah.
mistake.
Agree. Agree. Definitely. I mean, what's the quote? People will never forget how you made them feel, right? And I want to say that's Maya Angelou, but it's true. I mean, it's why we study sentiment, right? And it's not as a means of pulling one over on a customer just to get the sale. It's, well, no, we want you to walk away feeling good, of course, at its base, good enough to write us a nice review, but also to word of mouth, uh, and coming back. We want to retain you as well. And I I mean, honestly, what's the opposite of that? Giving someone a bad experience? Who wants to do that? So
But
I
I
I
think
think yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
I think in a lot of ways that's exactly what we're doing, right?
Yeah,
Is that by focusing on process and efficiencies and bottom line
yeah,
numbers that we really are setting the stage for delivering terrible experiences. And
yeah,
we do this internally and externally. So you
yeah,
think about how we don't individualize employee training,
mhm,
how we don't address issues with proper development. Everything is about a
yeah,
quota, a number, hitting a standard. We have scripts for everything that end up frustrating people. So I'm not understanding how we got here in our culture. And hopefully, as communication professionals, we can help companies to rethink some of that and bring humanity to the forefront.
yeah, that's very true, very true, because if you're on the receiving end of that, either instinctively or in the moment of, "Wait a second," and, data drives so much, and data is great. but it's not the only thing. I mean, think about, if you're a baseball fan, many of us bemoan the fact that every decision is so data driven. Oh, well, I have to pull the pitcher after 51.5 pitches. And, rather than just going with your instinct and your gut, that applies to so much of business as well, because, at the end of the day, we're dealing with our humanity and our human selves. And that's everything from our grit and our strength and our endurance and the challenges we all face and our personalities. And and the more we all learn about our personalities, the more we learn like, oh, we can all be on different spectrums. Oh, okay. Well, who's got who's got their, you're just discovering maybe your ADHD as a 50 something year old woman. Not saying I have, but when I read those little articles, I go, oh. So we're all dealing with a lot. And I think in a way, there's a certain safety we probably feel then of clinging to the data because numbers are numbers and they never change.
I
So,
love the baseball example though,
yeah.
and I love it because it has nothing to do with AI, because we all
Yeah.
know those AI frustrations from chatbots to calling automated service lines and being so frustrated to fight to get to a human being that's
Yeah.
not going to then read a script and only read the script to you, but somebody who's actually going to talk to you, that it costs people customers, but baseball has nothing to do with any of that. And so I love that you brought in being able to operate off of your human experience and your instinct,
Yeah.
which that is something that I believe that we are losing in the workplace. And I think that that's a detriment to seasoned pros and seasoned professionals, as well as
Yeah.
those that are coming into the profession.
Oh, yeah.
We're not we talk about losing the ability to of critical thinking, but we're not allowing critical thinking to develop because everything is becoming rote because it's part of the framework and part of the efficiency. But what if the
Yeah.
framework doesn't make sense in every situation? You stick to the framework, you stick to the policy, you meet this quota, you hit these numbers, you do it this way because our data says it's the most efficient way to do things. Well, that can be wrong. And it shouldn't be black
True.
and white that way. There should be nuances, and we don't
Right.
allow that anymore.
Yeah. You're right. And our society has a big problem overall with not appreciating, recognizing, understanding that nuance matters. And, while numbers themselves don't lie, some of the data points might be incorrect. They might be off that you're using to come up with the data. There's all sorts of room. So, yeah, I agree. And it is a shame for the practitioners just coming up to not have those experiences, to become seasoned. It's it's not good.
I mean, and I think as practitioners, it is tough for us as well to operate and in an environment that is not putting people first. Our
Right.
training teaches us to that our publics, meaning our clients and those that they serve, are important. They're essential,
Yeah.
that we are to have people led, people first strategies. However, what we're measured on, what we're hired on, sometimes what we're fired on
Yeah.
are all of those things except for people. And that makes it really, really hard because we're forced into these really unforgiving situations where brands want to see X and they want to see a certain number and it has to follow a certain timeline and it has to be a certain process
Yeah.
without thinking about how is PR deeply impacting the business? Because that's not a media hit here and there. It's so much more than that. And
Yeah.
that makes me really while I'm excited about the opportunities for our profession, that thinking makes me afraid for our profession because I feel
Mm.
like we're taking away the heart and soul of what it means to practice
Yeah.
public relations.
Yeah. And it and the impact that we can have. I once worked on a project where I was kind of like the regional touch base and, kind of help them get the lay of the land. And a couple of the things they chose not to do in this region based on their presumptions about who we were, I was like, "No, a lot of people like that in this area. You might be thinking they don't, but I that's kinda why you have me here." "Oh, okay. Hey, as long as your check clears, but still." And, yeah, even down to changing the location of their store, the location, the town name, "Well, we want people from Philly to come." I'm like, "Well, not if you use that town name, but hey, all I can do is say my piece."
Yeah.
And I'm sure they were going off some data that they understood to be true, and it's like, okay, lived experience is valuable, and that's whether you're 23 and just entering the profession or you're not, and you've been around for a little while. It's
Yeah.
because, again, we're not speaking to, a monolithic audience, right? It doesn't matter even how targeted your audience might be, there are still variations within those audiences no matter what. So it really
Absolutely.
does matter that you need to have that authenticity, you need to have that ability to, you know, move outside of those frameworks as the project dictates. It's fine to have
I
the
agree.
frameworks, but to just think, "This is what we
We
must
need
do." I mean,
frameworks,
gosh, how
right? It's kinda like
yeah,
the
yeah,
same
of course
reason
we
that we
do.
need
Yeah,
laws. We can't allow chaos. We have
right,
to have,
right.
organizational structure, but you also have to make room for people to use their head, and I think
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
I want to say that critical thinking is not dead. I think it's just not
No.
valued. And I think that you have
Mm.
smart people in every kind of job that
Yeah.
know the right things to do. They know ways to innovate to make something better. They're just not being heard. And
Yeah.
that really is a sad shame.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Well, we ended on a bit of a downer today. As as we were prepping for this episode, we'll be honest, we were thinking, "Can some celebrity do something silly so we can have a fun one?" So, but we're putting that charge out there into the world. Let's have something, ridiculous to chew on. But this was a valuable conversation that is necessary, and we will continue to have it over the course of future episodes. If you did find value in our time today, please do share this around. Check us out at soloprpro.com. There's all kinds of great information there for people striking out on their own. And until next time, thanks for listening to That Solo Life.